Hello, trading is closed on July 23rd, 2020. Let's go over our calls. Look for the pattern with the early low. This is it. We get to cross a target off the list, 32.26.36. It isn't only a target, it's also a support level. As far as the drop is concerned, here's what we said. We said a reversal here remains possible. I was less confident. What the bulls needed to do was to clear yesterday's high promptly, or lower prices should print. Well, they did gap and they did clear the prior high, so I can't really say that I call this. But I have been saying this is an area where one should exercise caution, so maybe I'll get some credit. Let's look at some other things. Early on, MEJT gave a sell signal that clearly worked, gave a sell signal in the afternoon, and that again has played out. Well, we've shown this chart before. We took these lines to a parallel from here. I thought breaking through it would be the end of the story. Perhaps we should take the parallel that goes through this point and this point. By that interpretation, we're still in the channel. We're still in the bottom half of the channel, which implies eventually you're going to break through on the downside. But according to this interpretation, we haven't broken through yet. In fact, all we have is a Fibonacci retracement of the last leg up. And undercutting some of these prior lows is interesting. Prior highs is interesting, but until you undercut some of these prior lows, you haven't really done what you need to do to be convinced this is more than a one-day wonder. Doesn't mean it's not, it means you need more evidence. Well, here's our count. This could be the start of wave blue C, but it could have been here too. Maybe it could have been here. You really have to undercut some of these lows. Now, we actually came reasonably close to my target. This was the target I had from a long time. We came within the fraction of 1%. And if in fact we do drop from here, I think this is the right count. But again, there's nothing stopping us in this count from going up and invalidating the whole thing. You have to undercut some of these levels. Now, this is one count. It's not the only count. And it sure looks like you need one more leg to complete it. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. The reason I'm showing the 2-minute chart is to show we finally have an impulsive wave. This is non-overlapping, and that's a 5-wave structure, which is what I want to see. If wave blue C down is going to be as strong as wave blue A down. And even though it looks like you need one more wave, it's possible. These are all threes, and it's possible. That's an ending diagonal triangle. We also dropped all day, held at this support, and couldn't close under the midday low. In fact, we couldn't close under all of these lows. We might have had churning at the top, and here we might have had churning at a low. And of course, if you gap down, undercut this low, that interpretation is killed before the open. Man, I wanted to show these, and they're off my chart. Patterns for this week, patterns for next week. Friday's pattern typically has the early high. Doesn't mean you won't gap down. Typically, it's a negative day with a low in the final hour. Rallying early, if strong enough, overcomes the bearish tendency of the day. Usually is followed by more strength in subsequent days. It's tempting to assume the long-awaited wave blue C down has begun, And maybe it did, but I still want more confirmation. The drop was a Fibonacci retracement of the last leg up, held at MEJT support. He hasn't undercut a significant low, and important to me is that the day-long drop couldn't close under the midday low. That doesn't mean you won't take it out tomorrow, but so far, dropping all day and holding, if you rally tomorrow, that doesn't look, then it doesn't mean anything. Early weakness in the prompt undercutting of today's low, ideally by gapping under it, would increase the chances the high of this leg's in. Early strength would still need to be followed by a convincing rally past today's high to negate the interpretation, be it churning at the high and that we're in wave blue C down. I still think this is an area where caution's advised. If we start to drop and take out some lows, it could be a long way down. Today was the first step, but it hasn't sealed the deal yet. Tomorrow has the early high, early strength, what you need if you're a bull. A big drop early if you're a bear, should have legs. And that's today's call.